The story opens with a frail boy named Takuto Era, confined to the sterile walls of a hospital room. His escape from reality is a video game, an empire-building dark fantasy simulator he plays endlessly to pass the time. Exhaustion slowly overtakes him, and he drifts into sleep. But when he awakens, the world around him is no longer the white ceilings and beeping monitors of the hospital. Instead, he finds himself lying on soft grass beneath towering trees in an unfamiliar forest. For someone who has spent years shut away in bed, the clean air and vivid sounds of nature are overwhelming. Just as he's trying to make sense of this miracle, a figure approaches. To his astonishment, it's Atu, the very character he loved most in the game. Takuto can hardly believe what his eyes are showing him. He mutters that this is Eternal Nations, the strategy game that had consumed his bedridden days. The game revolved around controlling civilizations in a world of darkness and ruin, and Atu was his most cherished companion. She greets him with a soft, unwavering loyalty, addressing him as king. Confused, Takuto wonders if he is expected to roleplay, but Atu reassures him. She reminds him that he had once accomplished what no other player could, clearing the nightmare difficulty with the hardest faction, the feared civilization of Minogra, known as the Nation of Ruin. His cunning strategies had even placed him at the very top of the global leaderboards. To Atu, he is not just a player but a legendary ruler, and she remembers every word he had spoken to her in that digital world. Takuto reflects quietly, admitting that perhaps the reason he always chose her was because he longed for strength like hers. Now, standing before her in the flesh, he can't suppress his emotions. He asks if she was the one who summoned him into this strange place, but Atu herself seems puzzled. She too woke up here suddenly, and though it resembles Eternal Nations, she insists it isn't heaven. Instead, she calls it a miracle, that fate had reunited them. She proposes that they start anew, building an empire together, just the two of them. Though still dazed, Takuto decides there's no sense resisting the situation. If this is truly the world of Eternal Nations, then he wants to recreate the joyous moments he once had. He accepts Atu's suggestion, agreeing that they will create their own kingdom side by side. Stepping into her role as vassal, Atu kneels and pledges her loyalty. Takuto finds the gesture almost embarrassing, but the sincerity in her eyes makes his heart stir. He declares that she will be his one and only confidant. While others may brand Minogra as the most evil empire, he knows the truth: it thrives not through conquest but through internal order. They would keep to themselves, ruling with restraint. To begin, Takuto uses his powers to summon a scout, a strange insect-like creature with long legs, conjured through emergency production. The grotesque appearance makes them both recoil, but it serves its purpose. He explains that while Minogra is infamous for ruin and evil, in reality, it is a civilization built on careful governance. That means they must remain hidden in the early stages to survive. Atu nods, realizing that this strategy matches the rules of the game: stealth before power. The summoned creature, obedient to their command, scuttles away to explore, and Takuto notes with fascination that he can partially share its vision. Looking at their resources, Takuto calculates. They have only 200 mana points in total, and summoning the scout has already consumed half. Establishing their first base will cost another 20. He laments that he wanted to summon a warrior unit instead, but their reserves are too limited. Atu feels guilty. Under normal circumstances, she would have defended him herself, but at the moment she is weak, only level 3. As a hero unit, she will grow stronger in time, but right now, a single powerful enemy could easily crush them. Takuto admits that the challenge feels brutal. Still, Atu encourages him not to despair, promising that together they will endure. Meanwhile, through the scout's eyes, Takuto begins to grasp the lay of the land. The forest stretches endlessly, dense with trees but curiously devoid of wildlife. Atu finds it unsettling but also a blessing: it means they can hide easily. Yet the lack of food worries them both. Takuto admits that survival will be difficult if resources don't appear soon. Atu apologizes for not being more useful, but he gently tells her that just having her beside him is more than enough. Her cheeks flush at his words, touched by kindness she never experienced in the game. Suddenly, the scout stumbles upon a settlement of dark elves nearby. Takuto is startled by the sight. The creatures are gathering in significant numbers, not far from where he and Atu are standing. The realization strikes him: they are truly inside the world of Eternal Nations. He knows from his player knowledge that dark elves are usually neutral, leaning slightly toward evil. That is a small relief. Still, he fears that if this is someone else's starting zone, conflict is inevitable. Bordering another empire this early would be disastrous. For now, discretion is key. Atu reassures him, saying that in the worst case, they can always retreat. Takuto agrees. They are a kingdom that values peace, and gathering intelligence is their best move. But before they can decide further, dark elves suddenly approach their location. The scene shifts to another perspective, the lives of those very elves. A band of them, led by Captain Jia, trek through the cursed forest in search of food. Exhaustion plagues them, and their people grow weaker by the day. Some urge Jia to abandon this barren land, but he reminds them they have no choice. Their clan was driven out of its ancestral home, forced to wander. This forest, though cursed, is their only refuge. He acknowledges the hardships, the children especially are close to breaking, but insists that somewhere amidst these oppressive trees, sustenance must exist. One of the elves, Emily, recalls ancient texts warning that an evil force was sealed within these lands, suppressing life itself. Jia dismisses it as superstition. Though the forest is unsettling, he believes the spirits of their ancestors are guiding them through this trial. Turning back would mean death. Their path soon crosses with Takuto. The moment Jia lays eyes on him, dread fills his heart. Shadows coil around the boy, his aura radiating an otherworldly menace. Jia instantly believes that before him stands a being of unimaginable danger. One misstep could doom his entire people. Terrified, he chooses humility over defiance. Kneeling, he introduces himself as Captain Jia of the Mazalram clan, apologizing for intruding. Atu, watching, feels satisfied that they at least understand the gravity of stepping into Minogra's domain. She demands to know why they dared enter. Jia explains their plight. Once dwellers of the central lands of Idrea, they were violently expelled and forced to flee. With nowhere left to go, they ended up in this forsaken forest. Takuto, moved, asks them directly if they are starving. The question stuns Jia, but he admits the truth. The persecution left them destitute, and they haven't eaten in days. Their children suffer the most. Takuto responds by summoning food, apples glowing red in his hands. The elves gape in disbelief, they have never seen such fruit. Cautious at first, Jia hesitates, worried that eating might appear offensive. Yet when his companions taste the fruit eagerly, delight spreading across their faces, he realizes it is safe. Takuto even produces pears, urging them to eat. Atu, though irritated by his generosity, orders Jia to accept the gift. Overcome, the captain bows low, asking humbly if he may bring these fruits to the starving children left behind. Without hesitation, Takuto grants him more food. Atu scolds him for wasting precious mana, but the elves can barely contain their gratitude. As they leave, Jia reflects bitterly on the fate of his race. Once cast out by the light, dark elves have endured centuries of suffering in exile. Yet no one has ever shown them mercy, until now. To them, Takuto's kindness feels like a miracle. They bow deeply, thanking him with reverence. When asked who he is, Takuto avoids the question, simply saying that the food is theirs now. Back at the dark elf settlement, hope flickers to life. Children rush to devour the fruit, tears of relief on their faces. Some ask Jia how he procured such bounty, but he deflects, saying it was luck, not daring to reveal the terrifying truth. That night, as the village rests, Jia keeps watch. The elder, Molter, approaches, intrigued by the miraculous fruit. In his long life, he has never seen anything like it. Suspicious, he presses Jia for the truth. Reluctantly, Jia confesses, they encountered a being of legend in the cursed woods, the so-called King of Ruin. Molter stiffens at the name. Old texts warn that when the world grows too full, the King of Ruin will appear, wiping everything away to reset existence itself. Whether myth or fact, the tales are grim. He asks if the entity revealed its name, but Jia replies that it did not. Yet its presence alone was enough to inspire terror. Molter then asks how the being communicated, and Jia explains that Atu spoke for him, relaying the words of the king. The elder shakes his head. Whatever it was, it does not bode well. Already, he senses strange disturbances in the forest. Molter presses further. What did the elves give in exchange for this miracle? Jia admits sheepishly that the being asked for nothing. The elder is shocked. In this world, nothing of evil grants gifts freely. But Jia insists that perhaps the King of Ruin showed mercy. Molter calls it dangerous folly, furious at the thought of giving such a title, Great One, to a creature shrouded in darkness. Jia, however, refuses to yield. Takuto saved their children from starvation. That, to him, is greatness. Their argument flares, but Molter eventually concedes, saying only that in the future he will lead negotiations with the entity. Meanwhile, Takuto and Atu bicker. She scolds him for squandering mana so recklessly on strangers. Mana, she warns, is their lifeline. Without it, their fledgling empire will collapse. Takuto admits he simply pitted the elves. He promises that from now on, he he will heed her words. She blushes at his sincerity, softening instantly. Apologizing for her harshness, she assures him that she will follow any command he gives. Takudo, however, reflects inwardly. He realizes he could barely speak to the dark elves himself, letting Atu handle the conversation. Tears sting his eyes. Once again, he is reminded of the loneliness of his past life, a boy with no friends, no one to talk to.